world stopped. A phenomenon unprecedented in modern history. The world came to a halt. A phenomenon never seen before in modern history. Billions of people were confined within four walls, holding their breath as the numbers climbed each day. Streets were eerily empty, with only the sound of wind blowing through deserted alleys. Hospitals were packed, overwhelmed to the point that healthcare workers were exhausted, their eyes lifeless. The siren of ambulances, once a rare sound, suddenly became the mournful background music of the entire planet. For the first time in modern history, the whole world fell silent, beating to the same rhythm of fear. And everyone thought, afterward, things would get better. We believed in a collective awakening, that we would cherish life more than ever, realize the value of each breath, each moment, that we would love each other more because we had endured the same pain, that we would learn something profound from loss and suffering to become stronger and more compassionate. But no, the world didn't get better. It simply began to shatter, slowly, silently, and painfully. Invisible cracks started to appear, signaling a new and uncertain era. When everything collapses, the mask is torn off. The pandemic didn't just kill people. It revealed something brutal. We were never as strong or united as we thought. The deadly virus was just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath it was the collapse of foundational beliefs we once clung to. Governments floundered, dishonest, helpless, from hollow promises to contain the virus, to conflicting and patchwork policies. We witnessed a lack of transparency, delayed responses, and even the prioritization of political gains over human lives. Faith in leadership was shaken to its core. Wealthy nations, once proud of their healthcare systems and economic strength, suddenly found themselves stumbling. New York, London, Paris, centers of the world, became epicenters of the pandemic, with overflowing hospitals and refrigerated trucks storing bodies. Their pride was dealt a devastating blow. Modern science, once considered the guiding light of humanity, came under scrutiny. Though vaccines were developed at unprecedented speed, the constant emergence of new variants, conflicting information, and conspiracy theories eroded public trust in science. People no longer knew whom to believe. They were swept into a vortex of misinformation, where truth and falsehood intermingled. Death was less frightening than uncertainty. No one knew what tomorrow would bring. Long-term plans became meaningless. No one dared to plan for the future, because the future itself became a fragile concept. And in the midst of this storm, we realized we are deeply alone. Despite living among millions, the lack of physical connection, the absence of touch, plunged people into a deep well of despair, too easily replaceable. Millions lost their jobs, their income, and realized they were just insignificant cogs in a vast, soulless system, ready to discard them at any moment, so small against a massive, indifferent machine. The pandemic exposed the fragility of individuals in the face of nature's destructive power and society's structural flaws. Post-pandemic, a world no longer the same. The post-pandemic world is not a recovery, but a painful transformation into a new state, where the cracks run deeper and the voids grow wider. 1. Loss of human connection. Social distancing inadvertently became spiritual distancing. Warm hugs, sincere handshakes, direct and understanding eye contact disappeared, replaced by screens. Conversations became shallow, emotions were suppressed. People forgot how to truly listen, no longer patient enough to understand others. They forgot how to love unconditionally, because even the simplest form of closeness became a threat. The result was widespread isolation, even when we were allowed to return to normal life. 2. Loss of deep trust. The pandemic triggered a crisis of trust. Trust in healthcare systems that couldn't cope. Trust in governments with their questionable decisions. Trust in media, amid misinformation and fake news. Trust in religion, as places of worship closed and prayers seemed powerless against illness. More profoundly, we lost trust in the future. Who could be certain about tomorrow when an invisible virus could upend everything? And ultimately, we lost trust in ourselves, in our ability to overcome, in our self-worth when faced with life's fragility. The post-pandemic era is not a physical crisis, but a spiritual one. A silent, enduring despair gnawing away at hope. 3. Loss of purpose and direction. Stability, once the guiding light of generations, now feels distant. Who still believes in a stable career when entire industries can collapse overnight? Who still believes in a sustainable future amid environmental crises, pandemics, and ongoing wars? Who dares to have children, buy homes, or build careers in such uncertain times? The young now live as if the future doesn't exist, embracing extreme live-in-the-moment, work-life balance, and even quiet quitting. Not out of laziness, but because they no longer see meaning in striving for a future they're not sure will exist. Doubt about purpose, about the meaning of work and traditional values, is creeping into every corner of society. The post-pandemic world, a lingering pain. After the pandemic, the world didn't recover as we had hoped. It shifted into a new form, colder, more chaotic, and directionless. Long-simmering tensions erupted like open wounds after a serious illness. We've witnessed the resurgence of geopolitical conflicts we thought were dormant. Russia-Ukraine, Israel-Gaza. Flashpoints like China-Taiwan, Iran-US, India-Pakistan remain volatile and threatening. On top of that, energy crises, financial upheavals, and moral breakdowns continue to shake the world. Skyrocketing inflation, broken supply chains, and deepening inequality paint a grim picture. Meanwhile, an AI arms race quietly marches toward the abyss. Technology, once seen as a liberator, now raises alarming concerns about control, ethics, and the replacement of humans. Humans used to die from war. Today they die from invisible wounds, depression, anxiety, skyrocketing suicide. People die because they no longer want to live, because they feel life is meaningless, because they feel abandoned in a cold and indifferent world. This is the price of a world that has lost its connection and basic trust. Light amid the chaos. The post-pandemic world is like a ship adrift, lost in a foggy sea. The compass is broken. The captain is missing, perhaps too busy handling internal crises. The passengers argue about whether the ship even exists, about the direction it's heading, and about whose fault it all is, instead of working together to find a way forward. This is the tragic image of humanity today. But perhaps, amid this chaos, something is waiting to be born. Not from the old, rotting systems. Not from helpless governments. Not from soulless AI. But from the human heart. From those who no longer want to live the same way. Who refuse the ordinary and meaningless. From those who have lost everything. Jobs, possessions, loved ones, faith. And from that place of loss, rediscovered something sacred, themselves. This is the rebirth from ashes, the search for the true meaning of life once all external layers have been stripped away. Maybe only when touching the depths of despair can humans find the strength to rebuild, with a deeper awareness of connection, compassion, and authentic purpose. If you've ever felt lost after the pandemic, felt adrift in a fractured world, if you're trying to find your way, to rebuild your life in faith, leave a like, not for algorithms or fame, but for solidarity. So we know we're not alone on this journey. And don't forget to subscribe, so we don't lose each other in this chaos. Because sometimes, one timely message, one shared story, can save a soul. Let's find the light together, in this darkness.